In the 2022 NFL season, the Los Angeles Rams went from defending Super Bowl champions to a 5-12 team. Now, were they actually that bad? I would say no, they were just plagued by injuries and didn't have enough depth. And that's just how the NFL goes sometimes. Sometimes injuries come at the worst times, and then you have to kind of just throw the season away like the Rams did. Now, sadly, the Rams love to just throw away their first round picks and get rid of absolutely A1 quarterbacks such as Jared Goff. So we didn't have our first round draft pick this year, but we did have a ton of draft picks in the later rounds. And like I said earlier, we needed to add depth to a lot of positions, and the offseason also screwed us as well. You see, in the offseason, we lost our superstar Jalen Ramsey, as well as Bobby Wagner, Leonard Floyd, and Nick Scott. And those are just a couple of the people we lost. Our defense was pretty much in shambles by the way that we got fleeced in this offseason. We had major gaps to fill in our secondary as well as our linebacking core, and it wasn't looking too good on the defensive side. However, on the offensive side, even though we did lose Allen Robinson, it's not as bad as you may think, because we're actually getting back a ton of players such as Cooper Kupp as well as Matthew Stafford. Getting those two players back from injuries as well as figuring out the Cam Akers situation, we're actually looking in a pretty promising position even before we had the NFL draft. But our offensive line could definitely use a few more starters and depth, and our tight end position is looking very scarce with only Tyler Higbee there that can really do anything. So basically, we needed to have a huge splash on draft day if we wanted any chance at getting back to the playoffs this year. And we did exactly that. Our first pick came in the second round where we drafted Steve Avila. He was rated the #1 guard in the draft by Pro Football Focus coming out of TCU. In his time at TCU, he only allowed 1 sack and he only allowed about 1 pressure per game over his final season at TCU. Even in the national championship game, Steve Avila only allowed 1 pressure to Georgia's amazing defensive line. He is going to make an immediate impact on the Rams, and he's going to be starting day 1, and it's going to be great. In round 3, I was really hoping that the Rams were going to address the defensive side of the ball because we had a lot of holes to fill on every single level. And the thing that the Rams decided to address first was going to be the defensive line. We needed to fill the gap that Leonard Floyd left for us with pass rushing, and we did that with Byron Young out of Tennessee. He was one of the most explosive players off the edge in the draft, and I'm extremely excited to see what he's going to do. He's going to be starting day 1 as well. And then just a few picks later, they picked up Kobe Turner, who is a great player out of Wake Forest, who's hopefully going to be contributing early also. In round 4, they surprised me by taking QB Stetson Bennett from Georgia. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks to come out of this draft because he knows how to win. He won 2 different national championships. If Matthew Stafford goes down, it'll be an interesting experiment to see. The Rams were very active in the 5th round. They picked up an offensive tackle, a wide receiver who is going to be extremely explosive and exciting to watch, a tight end, as well as another edge defender. All these positions were needs except for offensive tackle, which we probably could have picked up at a later round, but that's okay. However, we still had a couple gaping holes that we had not addressed yet at this point in the draft that I was a bit concerned about. You see, at this point we did not have a punter, a kicker, and our cornerback position was extremely light. However, with our first pick in the 6th round, we picked up LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew, who is a baller at cornerback. He'll be contributing in the slot position early and often. We picked up another edge defender, and then we picked up a running back, Zach Evans, who is a baller. And Zach Evans was actually graded a lot higher. However, he dealt with a few injuries, so he kind of tumbled down the draft board, but he is a baller and he'll be contributing pretty early as well. Then we finally addressed special teams. We picked up punter Ethan Evans, who can deadlift 770 pounds, and we picked up a safety, Jason Taylor II from Oklahoma, who will be contributing to the secondary. So in this draft, the Rams were able to address all of their needs and pick up a lot of high upside guys. And if a good amount of these high upside guys hit, we're going to be able to be back in playoff and Super Bowl contention because Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are back, baby. Not only that, Logan Bruce is back and he's going to be fully healthy, so our offensive line is going to be looking way better than it did last year. Don't be surprised if the Rams make a run at the Super Bowl. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next one.